Welcome to episode 1, where we're chatting all things community and colour, inside Winston's Fish Bar, with our guest artist Morag Myerscough and featuring Shruti from Mantra Murals, and not forgetting Alex the Fryer.
Hi, I'm Meg, lead artist on the 21st Century Super Shrines project here in Weston-super-Mare and self-appointed chip advisor. You're watching Chip Chat, the only show that puts the chips into the art chats.
Fancy!
It's Chip Chat! So we're here today at Winston's Fish Bar on the beachfront in Weston-super-Mare, and I'm here with artist Morag Myerscough and the amazing fryer Alex, who served our delicious chips to chat all things community and colour. So I'd like a regular chips, please. Well, let's salt and vinegar our chips.
Okay.
How much salt do you take? Or do you want to do vinegar and I do the salt?
Okay, I'll do some salt.
Okay. So what would you rate the chips?
How would I rate them? 11. I think they're really brilliant chips. They're some of the best chips I've had.
So Morag is designing for us here in Weston well, we're calling it at the moment a 21st century bandstand, but it actually doesn't have a name. It's going to be a structure that's going to be used for 3 years for the community to perform on, to sit on, to have a space, and it's going to be in your usual beautiful, colourful style, taking words and patterns from local community. And I wanted to really theme today's chat around community and colour. And sorry, I've got a chip. Got a chip stuck.
I think you do need some water.
We've had a couple of glasses of water, emergency flown in, due to a slight choking.
Chip choking.
A chip choking. So yeah, I wanted really to speak with you about community and colour as kind of like the themes of this chip chat, and to find out a little bit about the importance of colour in your work, really, and like what that means to you. So I don't know if you wanted to speak about any other previous examples of work that you've done and the use of colour and how that's kind of made an area feel or made people involved in the project feel or anything like that. That would be really nice.
Yeah. So do you want me to hold the chip?
Yeah, you can hold the chip mic, please do.
The chip mic? Okay. So I think just colour has always been in my work. So I don't even know if it was a conscious thought that I'm just going to start putting colour in. I've always had colour because for me, well, I grew up, my mother was a textile artist, so I grew up around my fabrics and textiles and everything, and it just was a joyful thing. It always made me happy. Colour, was really inspiring, and and so that is why it's in my work.
Yeah. Because it speaks to you.
It speaks to me, and then when I started doing big structural installations in public spaces, well, at that time I wasn't doing with communities as such, working together. It was just like the first one I did, and then I could see the response of putting a very coloured, vibrant, joyful piece of work out there, and how people responded to it. And then from there, I built from there. So it's absolutely about people's reaction to my work. And in different instances, once I did a big thing in Elephant and Castle, where it was really grey and concretey, and I remember just this woman saying that she just loved going past on the bus seeing the neon yellow, and I just thought, and she was just a person in the street, and I just thought, wow, that's affected her, so that meant a lot to me. So sometimes it's only very small things that people have said to me relatively that then I realise how important that is and work from there.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that the artists to me that work with communities that make artworks that I feel are really strong are those artists that start with something that speaks to them. And I think you can get caught up in thinking, how can I make something that fits a brief? But if the brief doesn't fit you and what you're about, it will never fit the people you're working with. So the fact that it speaks to you first of all, and that you're doing it from that honest place, is amazing. But then also, when you put colour into a community setting, it does make people feel joy. It does uplift people. It does make people feel like, oh, it just puts a different spring in your step.
But sometimes I think you need to take people through the process, and also I think that thing you said earlier was really poignant. That so when I was at college, I did this massive big batik. Even though I was doing graphics and various other things, I did this big batik hanging, lots of colours and everything. And one other student came up to me and goes, "Think about your work. It looks like you enjoyed doing it." And I think it's a bit like when you go into a house, when you go and look at a house and it's warm and you can get vibes from things, can't you?
Yeah.
So I think that if you are making work that is joyful and bright and you want to uplift mood, then I think you also have to believe that, believe in it and enjoy it. And I know the projects I've done that have become really complex and difficult, I don't love them as much either. And then
you disconnect yourself.
Yeah, you disconnect yourself. So I think, but what I think is, I think a lot of people are scared of colour.
Yeah.
A lot of people haven't been introduced to colour in the way that we see colour by, being in art schools or whatever. So what you have to do is take people through the process with you to see how colour can affect you. And then once people work with you on projects, they see why that is like that, or why you do things like that, and that's one of the biggest things. That's why it's so important that you don't just show people work, you get people involved in the work as well, so they feel that they understand it as much as anything. Because colour, the piece I just did in Coventry, that was quite controversial. A lot of people were worried about that colour, and then sometimes you have to push through that fear by certain people, and because it's going to work.
Yeah.
And then at the end, people have completely changed their attitude to it. So sometimes it's not as easy as you think. And I'm sure you must find colour is quite difficult sometimes.
Yes, true. I always draw the line at you can compromise in a project because you have to make a project. You always have to make compromises.
Do you always?
Not.
No.
Well,
no.
Not.
You can develop. You never compromise.
You never compromise.
You develop.
You develop. There you go.
You can develop. You shouldn't compromise. To me, always seems to be imply that you're doing something you don't feel there's something about it that you're resigning yourself to.
Yeah.
I don't think you look like a compromising person.
Maybe compromise is the wrong word, but I always come back from a project doing something I didn't anticipate doing. Because maybe it ends up being like, oh, actually, we couldn't use that space because we couldn't put a boulder there. So we end up doing something else, and then that kind of happy accident becomes something.
Yeah, so that can be an organic growth or a development.
That's true.
Or
so maybe
something like that.
What I was going to say is I never compromise on colour.
Good.
Because I think the same thing, like if you compromise on colour, you end up with really dulcet tones. And then you end up with something that just doesn't speak and doesn't bring people that joy and that spark that you're putting back into people. I think that there's maybe a link between adulting and like losing colour and vibrancy.
Oh,
and
tell me about it.
I don't know if you have the thing when you're doing engagement, but people are like, oh, this is for the kids. Like, no, this is not for the kids. This is for everybody. This is for you. But just because it's set up in a colourful surrounding, it's
no, the colours should be left as childish pastimes and not, you shouldn't have colour in your later life. It's evil,
It's so annoying.
No, that is, and people always get, oh, your work's all right if it's for kids, Oh, that's okay for kids, and it's like, no,
this is for everybody.
Yeah,
this is for everybody.
And colour is sophisticated. Colour is complex to use. It isn't just like, slap a bit of yellow and a bit of red together in this. You actually have to think I think you have to think more carefully. Well, from experience, it is much easier to do something in grey and dull colours than it is to get colour right, because the thing about colour, and that's where we have to be careful, and also when we work outside, because of the light and where the light's coming from. So Mediterranean countries, they have all beautiful coloured houses because they have beautiful light. You know, if you put that colour, that same blue or something you might see in Mediterranean that's all beautiful and you've been on holiday and you think it's fantastic, and then you go, I'm just going to put it on my house where near the North Sea or something like that, then the light is going to be completely different, and that is going to look like a navy blue, and it isn't going to have the colour, you know. So there's a lot of those considerations, I think, which are quite...
It's really true. Yeah,
quite
it's really
complex
true.
about how colour's used, where it's used.
This location is known by some as Big Lamp Corner, and in the olden days this spot was used by cartsmen, as there were troughs here that would feed the horses that would pull the carts down the busy high street. And this hopefully will be the location of Morag Myerscough's 21st century bandstand, built in collaboration with the local community. And as Morag says, we would like to head towards a new now. So our 21st century bandstand will be a space that people can meet and truly use. We hope it's going to be used as a stage and a platform for community and for the local shops and businesses. There's a lovely phrase which Morag uses in her work, which is, make happy those who are near and those who are far will come. And I think that this happy, beautiful structure should hopefully do that. This project is part of the High Streets Heritage Action Zone's cultural programme, and this programme aims to make our high streets more attractive, more engaging and vibrant places for people to live, work and spend time.
But what I've found from the projects that I've done, just building a structure is really complex.
Yeah.
So what's actually quite good is if that structural side is sort of put in place by me, because I can, with discussions with people, but then I work with engineers and stuff, and then I form a backdrop that everybody can then take part in. So then that's done by doing workshops first.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's where we start discussing about the narrative of the piece as well. So, and in those workshops it's really important that I'm in those workshops, because just a chit chat, I can pick up on things and I can hear things and I can see what people like, what they don't like, informally, as well as people just doing the formal stuff. And then I take all that work that we've put together, and then I'll form it into the structure, and then it might depend. It might depend where we leave it loose. And we do another workshop and people will paint patterns in the workshop. So we might not even use the patterns that we've already done. That's just a sort of opening. It could be that they actually make patterns and make placards and things. Or when I did a big project in Scotland, I had made the patterns, but then I had like a team of about 100 people organised by Gray's School of Art came and painted the structure. And what it seemed that everybody was so pleased about is that they were part of this really big thing in the middle of their town.
Yeah.
And actually you sort of get confused because you think people want to own everything.
Yeah.
You think, because maybe that's what we have, maybe there's, but actually people want to just be part of this collective often. To make this thing, and and it doesn't matter. Some want to take it from the beginning to end, and some want to come in at bits at the different times. But the most important thing is if people are involved, they have to be credited.
Yes.
And it's really important that everybody's involved, everybody's name is on it. It doesn't matter what they did, the smallest thing that they did or whatever, but they're involved. And they've taken part in whatever form they're able to take part.
Yeah.
And then the work is their work. They own that piece.
It belongs to that community.
It belongs to that community. And then they own that work, and then they decide, if they want performances or whatever, or the group of people organising it do that, So it removes from me as such.
And also I think it does give the community a sense of power to work with an artist such as yourself, who has artworks all over the world that you've made in collaboration with communities, or as designs and structures that you've built and designed solely on your own.
Yeah.
Because they feel like, Morag Myerscough's come to Weston. She's worked with us. I know her. I worked with this thing, and that really puts a spring into people's steps. Not in a childish way, but in a really adult way. It makes you feel validated that actually you came to our town and you inserted your colour here. That is true, though.
But
I think.
I always feel so so wonderful about what I learned from everybody. So when just recently I did a big piece at the Folkestone Triennial, and we had to do all the workshops on Zoom, and I hadn't done really workshops on Zoom before, and then first of all I know I wasn't very good, it wasn't the other people, but we got better at it, and it was so rewarding, and it really emotionally affects me. I really love learning, because every community group is different, and you should never predict or say that you know what that group is like, because often the groups are together for certain reasons. And it may be a cultural reason, it may be they like a sport, or so they have different reasons for being together, so they also have different mindsets as well, and then you have to tap into that as well, because you can't, the most important thing is to do a work that is individual to that place, not just a universal piece of work.
A piece that speaks to that community.
Exactly.
In fact, actually, could you just tell us what what one of your recent structures is called that's relating to chips?
Well, this actually, I didn't write this. This came out of a workshop, and it just resonated me when I was listening to the workshop. So it's called Flock of Seagulls, Bag of Stolen Chips.
Which is pretty perfect.
And it's written all around the bottom of the structure.
So we've already done one workshop that kind of started to look at the themes and what people find passionate about Weston, that could kind of go into this structure that we're going to build here, that we're temporarily calling a bandstand. And from a thorough research project that I did that champions the 21st Century Super Shrines project, what came out of that was that the 3 Ps that make Weston feel powerful is pets and animals, because it's a very pet-friendly place, places and people. And so year 1 with your structure, we're kind of looking at a loose theme of pets and what they mean to people. And through this workshop we collected loads of different pets' names and lots of different amazing words that could or could not go on the structure, that say about, you are my world, you're everything to me, you make me smile each day. All these lovely kind of comments that out of context are great and related to pets are brilliant. I wondered if you could just tell us a little bit about Elvis. I know he couldn't make it today, but we have got a little bit of footage of him. We can slide on in.
I'm so sorry. He would have loved to come, but I didn't think, actually. I was a bit bad, so I should have brought him.
There's a lot going on at the minute, and it was a 4-hour train journey each way, so I feel bad. I feel good for Elvis that he's at home in your garden running around.
He loves it, though. I mean, he did try and run after me.
He's been to Weston twice, though, hasn't he?
He has.
Twice.
So I'm Elvis is my 3rd Westie. So, and we had a Westie when I was small. My mum was Scottish, and she had a Westie. So Westies are like the only dog in my family.
The only ones allowed in.
And so when you were saying that pets were key, I'm just like, wow, that is so brilliant, so up my street. And so I love the idea that sort of directly and indirectly that we incorporate the dog and cats and mice if people like them, and guinea pigs. I don't get them myself.
We've got snake as well. We've got snake.
Snakes. If we incorporate it into I think it's fun. I think what I love about doing these structures is it's just great. There's this layering to it, and if somebody from the outside just looks at it and goes, "That's a bright thing" or something. That's absolutely fine. If it just makes them smile and bright. If we then got layering, and people want to look a bit further and they get it, that makes it more fun for me, and I like that. So and that's where you almost have to be in the know with what we're and that's where when people are involved in it, they'll know that as well.
There is one person that would be here actually, who sadly can't be here because of the situation we're in of COVID-19 still, and I think that perhaps I was thinking about this morning. I think for a long time I was using the wrong language, like after the pandemic this is going to happen, even though I didn't really ever believe that. I think it was just like that, but now we're just kind of learning to live with it. But local amazing artist Shruti, who is renowned for her murals around Weston-super-Mare and her like colourful designs that kind of uplift people, would be here sharing these chips with us, but I'm afraid she's isolating. And I think that she really wanted me to just say a little bit about how that during this period of time she really believes that colour is one of the things that really uplifted people. And I know that you did you do a mural outside your house during COVID? Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that? Would you mind?
Yeah, well, I was asked it was right in the depth of the pandemic in April last year to do this billboard up in Leeds, and it was to thank the NHS, thank the frontline workers. And so I wrote that was it. I wrote, "Our superheroes, we love you." So I put that up there, and then there was an opportunity to paint it on my own wall on my own house. So these great guys came and helped me paint it. And then the neighbours, so we were painting and it was still like real distancing and everything. We had to keep, we were all spread out. And then but all the neighbours came up and were like going, "Oh, it's so brilliant, you put colour on the wall, we really love it." And I thought they would be, because it was really bright and it's under a light. And I thought that they would be a bit sort of, oh God, that's, too glowy and in your face. And then it was totally the opposite, and they loved it, and it's never been graffitied, and nobody's touched it, and they just love that.
Oh my God.
And I realised then, you realise then that exactly what you were saying, how actually it's more important than you even know yourself, in certain contexts as well.
Yeah.
Where everything else around you is grey. Last year everything, and some people didn't have gardens and stuff, so some bright message. And that's where I felt last year that actually messaging was really, really important as much as colour. And my work's always had words and always had a lot of messaging, but last year it really the pattern didn't seem to do it for me totally. It just needed to have some more directness, and so a lot of my work was word based.
Those positive, empowering messages, especially during COVID, like everyone just had this kind of fog around them, and you didn't really want to like decipher stuff. You just want to see like, what is it? Great, that's it. Keep going, or whatever the thing is that makes you feel like that's the message I need to hear today. So I think you're right. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for coming to Weston and building a structure with us.
Thank you for asking me, and we're doing it together. So and we got to use some good materials, and it's very exciting. And I've got a sketch to show you this afternoon.
Oh, I can't wait! Thank you. Thanks for shaking on the salt, the vinegar, and the colour, Morag. Look at our chips.
We didn't ring each other.
We didn't. No,
we didn't. This is a total.
Thanks so much for joining me on Chip Chat, Shruti, and I'm so glad you're feeling better.
Yeah. We had a couple of nightmare weeks, but it's better now, and thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much. It's so good to have you here. I really wanted to speak with you, especially on this episode that we're filming with Morag, because I feel like both you and Morag create huge colourful artworks in completely different styles and contexts, but both bring joy and happiness to different community surroundings. And I wondered if you could introduce yourself and just a little bit about what it is that you like to do.
I was a graphic designer to start with for many years, and murals came about by chance when one of my friends asked me to paint some dandelions in her salon in Bristol, and because I had not been working with paints and paintbrush and things like that, it was mainly digital media. Yeah. And I really, really enjoyed that, and luckily I started to get more work after that. from after the dandelions, and then so it's never stopped. I quit my day job 2 years back to just pursue this, and
Amazing.
I'm really loving it.
Amazing. And how long have you lived in Weston?
6 years now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And does it feel like home now?
It does, yeah. It does feel like home.
So when I met with Morag, we obviously met in Winston's, and so we thought only right to get some takeaway chips from
Yeah,
Winston's
that's
today. Thanks for bringing them. Let's have one.
I'm very special because they're for free.
I know. What's your salt and vinegar intake on chips? Do you go for normal amounts or?
Yes, salt and vinegar for sure, but lately I've been having gravy.
Oh, really?
Along with my chips, yes.
That's very northern.
That's very new,
Yeah.
yes, but I just absolutely love it. And once you get
Like
the
a
hang
meat
of it,
broth
you just-
gravy?
Yeah, they do gravies
Yeah,
with
yeah,
chips,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I didn't know that. But somebody introduced me to that, and now it has to be gravy.
Really? Oh, you should have got some
Yes.
gravy on. Sorry.
But also my little one, in my household, my little one's the one that feels the least guilty eating chips. So it's mainly French fries at home with
Got
a
you.
bit of crushed black pepper and sea salt.
Wow, fancy.
Also,
Yeah.
chaat masala. It's like
talk me through chaat
masala
mas-
flavored salt.
Oh, yes.
It's really nice.
Gorgeous,
on chips.
gorgeous.
So, yeah, so that feel-
What do you think to the chips? So, do you think that they're good chips from Winston's? How would you go about rating these chips?
I guess if we'd eaten them a bit sooner, it would have been much.
They would have been
different, but
crispier,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're slightly soggy,
Yeah.
but they're quite good. They're quite good chips. Yeah.
Enough about the chips, on to the chat. So yeah, I wanted to, so you've been painting murals for 6 years? How many years? So you did...
Longer, I'd say. But because it wasn't something that I was doing on a regular basis, I would just do it
Yeah.
every time I did
Yeah.
the job. So over 8 years now, but I've been doing it more since last year, I would say.
Yeah.
Like since I quit my job, but then there was COVID.
Yeah.
So then there was a nice big break, which we really enjoyed it
Yeah.
to start with because we were all at home, and but because I've been doing my digital work as well, so I didn't feel like I wasn't doing any art.
Yeah.
But then the mural started last year, and then I did this one for Culture Weston.
Which is amazing!
Yeah. And this was sort of starting point for me in terms of bright colours mainly. Mm-hmm. Because the brief was bright colours.
Yeah.
And for me, bright colours would scare me. I was
Really?
all about, yes, I was all
That's
about
so
greys and
interesting.
browns.
That's so interesting.
But also after COVID, I now feel the need to use bright colours.
Yeah.
Because I can see it that it is uplifting.
Yes.
And it will cheer you up for sure.
That's
and I
so
see
interesting.
how people respond to bright colours.
Yeah, yeah.
And so now suddenly, if you look at when I look at my past work in order of sort of dates, I see how it's changed from greys and really muted tones to like straight out of the pot.
Yeah.
Pot. Yeah.
I feel like
really bright.
I feel like trends in fashion and style are kind of affected by like what's happening in society, and like having gone through this massive thing, like I do feel like when you're walking down the high street at the moment, a lot of the interior decorations, everything is going down the like colourful route, isn't it? Because of this like uplift that we need after the pandemic.
Yes.
That's so interesting. I didn't realise that you did more dulcet tones pre-pandemic, and now you're like, I've got the need.
My friends from college, because they've seen my work in the past, they're like, oh my god, what's happened to you? What happened? I'm like, no, it's just I did this one.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed doing it.
I know.
Enjoyed the colours,
and
I'm just going with it now.
it suits you. It just feels like it's you. I didn't realise that you didn't do this before, because look at you. You're so colourful and beautiful and vibrant. I just thought that's how it was. And I guess I wanted to speak with you a little bit about the process of painting for you, and like how does it make you feel, and what do you get from painting? What kind of mindset do you get, if any?
I don't know how to answer that, to be honest, because I haven't thought about it, but I can tell you what my family sees in me when I'm painting. I'm happiest when I'm even digital work for that matter, because I love doing digital illustrations. When I'm sat on the computer and 5-6 hours will just go past, just fly, and then I don't even know that I've been there for that long. It's just so fast, because when you're enjoying what you're doing, and with murals it's the same. 8 to 9 hours I can easily do at a stretch.
Yeah.
Without literally taking a break or sitting down or anything, and my husband says to me, no, you need to, just exercise while you're doing it, because you're just doing this or you're bending down. But I just don't realize it because I'm just enjoying it so much.
And
I
you
just
get into a
absolutely love
zone.
it. Yes,
That's so nice.
That's my happy place.
That's so nice.
Working with.
There is like something in process, isn't there? I know that now quite a lot of doctors are prescribing like arts on prescription instead of just pills or other kind of therapies and treatments, because it is this huge distraction. So people that are suffering with chronic pain, it's not to belittle the pain that they've got, that is real, but you can get something unlocked in your head when you get entranced in a creative activity, can't you?
Absolutely.
And then you forget about that. Your brain forgets about that pain.
Is getting so much attention now, and everybody wants in care homes and places like that, in hospitals.
That's so true.
Yeah,
that's so true. Really nice. Yeah. And I wondered, could you talk me through like a process of doing a mural such as this? Like, do you do it on your computer first and digitalize something, or how do you go about setting up a mural?
So first, obviously, there's a brief, and then I'll do a bit of research about the client, what they do and what they want to see in the mural, and then I'll do a little sketch, a few thumb sketches. Then I'll transfer it over to the computer and then try to
transfer over to the computer, get it done. You've lived in Weston for 6 years, and I've been working in Weston for nearly 6 years, and I think that every time I come each year, it gets more and more colourful and more bright. And I guess I wanted to just find out a bit to you about what colourful artworks mean to you in Weston.
Well, we've all seen that Weston's seen a bit of a decline over the past few years, sadly, hasn't it? But these murals and all the work that Culture Western Art Space have done, they work so hard to sort of create opportunities for the community, for them to come out and sort of, discuss or just get excited about culture and art in Weston. And just generally, I feel that all of these murals, these like the sidewalks and the back lanes and the streets that would normally, they would go unnoticed, but now
people are looking out
want
for them.
to actually go there to have a look at it, and obviously that's going to get more people to sort of there's going to be more shops and tourism and economy boost and all of that, but also like public art administrators, culture makers like yourself. I mean, you guys have literally, I think that you've revitalized the community.
Oh, that's nice.
My son said to me, Mum, this is something we'd see in London. It's happening in West.
Oh, that's so nice.
It's amazing. And
that's so nice. When Morag and I were talking, Morag was saying that like she uses a lot of messaging in her work. I know you came with your boys actually to her workshop and helped do some pattern design, and we did some different colour design projects. And Morag does different messaging in her work, and for this project that we're doing with her, we're building like a 21st century bandstand. The community are going to name it. So it's going to be like a stage, and it's kind of featured a lot around people's pets because Weston's extremely animal friendly, and on our high street we have loads of pets on a daily basis, more than anywhere else around here. And lots of people have donated their pets' names to go on the bandstand, and also different like quotes as well that are about their pets but actually out of context are really lovely. So we got, from the workshops we did, we got quotes such as, "You are everything to me, you are my world, you are my home, this is with you is life," and things like that, which would be just a lovely message for people walking down Weston's High Street to read out of context. And I think Morag said that she's been using messaging a lot more during the pandemic, because she feels like people just need to see these positive messages. And that, we had like a chat where we kind of thought like, colour can be as powerful as positive messages. But right now also, it feels like the right time to go back to almost, artists' versions of like greeting cards
uplifting messages. And I wondered what you thought about that, and have you seen messaging around, or do you use messaging at all in your work, or
I don't use it in my work so much, but I would love to. That's something that literally, because I do digital illustrations.
Yes.
I'd love to do more sort of messages with illustration.
Yeah.
So I think about it all the time. So in the shower, just when I'm getting ready, I'm like, oh, that would be a good message. Like stuff like women of color. So all the colors on the color wheel, or just something like that. So I just keep getting these ideas, and also for me, it's very important that I always say this to young people as well, that you really need to go into a profession where you do what you absolutely love. Don't pick something that you don't love, because literally that changes your life. So that's something that's always in my head. Love what you do and do what you love.
I love it.
That's one thing that's my mantra, really.
I feel like we need to see that on Weston's High Street. I wanted to know how it feels for you making work like this in the place that is your home, and does that make you feel proud, and how does it make you feel ownership, or how does that make you feel?
This would be the biggest example of that, because working in Weston, also the Windows project, which said my one said everything's going to be okay.
It was just beautiful. I think that there's something so special about Weston, which is that people say Weston is asset poor and community rich, and I think that that's so true. I think that actually it's not that asset poor anymore. I think they're getting loads of amazing assets, but the community here is really rich and really vibrant, and it's one that's just kind of like accepted our activity in a way that I've never seen anywhere else accept it. They're like, oh yeah, we'll give it a go. Other places it's a bit like, oh, I'm not sure, and then I feel like everything is just like vibrant and exciting here, and I'm so glad that you're a part of that. So thank you so much.
I'm Alex. I work at Winston's fish shop, and I fry. I work a takeaway.
Do you make the chip? They are really good.
Yeah, Morag rated them 11 out of 10.
Oh,
yeah, so
I'd say 12.
You'd say 12? Okay, well, yeah.
Well, I'll go with 12.
They're really good. They're really good. So Morag is working with the community here to help us make, at the minute we're calling it a bandstand, but the community is going to give it a name, and it's going to be like a space and a structure that can be used by the local community as like a stage or a sitting area, and it's going to be bright and colourful and like really happy. And today's chat over chip chat, has been all about community and colour and how that makes people feel. And I just wanted to speak to someone from Winston's. And what are your thoughts on colour within the community or within Weston, and how it makes people feel? Do you feel it's important, or?
Oh, it's definitely important. Colour is just adds a little bit, like it makes you smile, makes you happy, brings positives out and stuff. When it's all dull and all grey and stuff, you don't really want it. Don't really want to be there and stuff. So yeah, colour is definitely an important part of life itself.
Amazing. You sound like you're quite creative.
To an extent, I'd say so. Yeah. I'd say so.
So what kind of?
Across life in general, to put this stuff. I do a bit of music, I play piano. I love music, I love art, I love all kinds of, anything creative. It's down to me.
We're going to have to get you involved in making our structure. You're going to be straight in here, Alex, because we're going to need a team of people to help build this structure. Do you think you can jump on it? Amazing. So the end of every episode, what I do is I have my Wishes for Weston jar, and based on today's chat of community and colour, I'm going to give you each a little bit of neon card and a pen, and I'd like you to write a wish for Weston's future based on anything connected to community and colour or anything else, and then we're going to share it and archive it in the jar. Is that okay? Great. See that Morag is ready to go. So you keep writing there, Alex. Morag, what have you? Please.
Okay, so
would you?
My wish.
What is your wish?
My wish is that we are super colourful together.
Ooh, I love it.
There you go.
I love it. I'm going to share two because the one that I've got was given to me by Shruti, who should have been here with us today. And hers is "Colour has the power to bring about change. I hope colour continues to give Weston's community a sense of joy and a feeling that everything is going to be okay," which is kind of poignant because at the minute she's isolating in these COVID times, so I think that's really lovely. And mine is actually really corny. I wish for Weston to be filled with colour that makes people feel the joy. And what's yours, Anna?
Me being from London and being like used to having all like the murals and stuff, I feel like there's a couple around in Weston at the moment, so I feel like more wall art, more vibrant colours, just more smiles.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I think more murals, paint all those buildings. That's what I should put the week. To paint all the buildings in Weston.
Which is what Shruti does so wonderfully, and as a show she's not here, that's what she does. She's painting all the murals. But thank you so much. Thank you so much, Morag, and thank you so much, Alex. Thank you so much, guys. So yeah, I'm just here sewing on Winston's fish bar onto my suit, following the chat I've just had with Morag Myerscough and lovely Alex the Fryer about community and colour in Weston, and kind of the importance really of colour and how it's important for community really. So I just thought I'd reflect whilst stood inside this beautiful bandstand in Grove Park. And when we arrived at this bandstand just now, there was a group of gorgeous young women who've just finished at college for the day, and they were dyeing each other's hair. They were chatting about their plans for the weekend coming up. And they were just genuinely lovely people. And I guess it's really inspired me to know that the 21st Century Bandstand that we're going to be building with Morag, that's still awaiting its name, is going to be utilised maybe in a similar way, because we really do need spaces and places within our Western landscape where people can meet, young people can meet to dye their hair, where older people can meet with their pets during their walks with their animals, spaces where people can put on exhibitions and artistic events, or spaces where people can just gather with their coffees and reflect on their weeks. But yeah, the chat today with Morag about colour was really, really inspiring. And I guess it's kind of one of the big things that came out of it for me was firstly that colour does spark joy, and that I don't think colour is frivolous. I think it is functional, and I think it has a purpose. And if it didn't, then we wouldn't be living in this beautiful, rich, colourful environment we live in. And I think that I think colour is functional, not frivolous. That's the first thing. And I think the other kind of big thing that came out of it for me was Morag corrected me when I talked about compromising on projects in different ways. And I think that that's a really valid point in terms of you don't have to compromise, but you do have to have a conversation. And I think that that's when the really exciting things happen with artworks, is when an artist holds not a compromise but a conversation with community. And I think that that's when you get really, really exciting artwork that supersedes both what the artist intended and what the community thought was possible. And I think colour can do that. I think one of the most important things that have got us through COVID have been some of the colourful things that have happened, whether that's colourful music, colourful theatre, colourful conversation, colourful art projects. But I think that colour has really injected the positivity that we need right now, and the kind of the essence of joy that I think is needed on our high streets, our bandstands, and our shared public spaces. Yeah, and I guess that was it really. Like, I do think that colour is functional, not frivolous. So I know you want to eat your chips. And here we have Paula and Simon, who are artists in their own right. Paul, how would you describe yourself?
I'm your
Creative production.
green production manager.
Green production, you are!
Today, but sometimes green, sometimes yellow.
Yeah, make productions happen with solar and wind, yeah. And Simon, how would you describe yourself?
That's a tricky one. I'm a maker.
A maker and a creative and an artist.
All of those.
Yeah, amazing. Morag, what do you reckon Simon and Paula are going to put on their chips, salt and vinegar wise? Do you think they'll go salt and vinegar, extra salt, extra vinegar?
I'd say not much salt.
Not much salt, but you think they would have salt?
Well, I think they might have a bit of salt. Depends if they're anti-salt. I don't really know.
You think they'll have a bit of salt?
They might have everybody. I don't know. It's quite hard not to have a bit of salt, isn't it?
I think that they're going to be okay. They're going to be a bit of salt, and I think they're going to be extra vinegar. I just got a feeling.
Okay.
I got a feeling.
Right.
Guys, what are you going to do?
It's totally right. It's totally right. Mountains of vinegar.
Is that true?
More vinegar than you can imagine. Look, keep going like this.
Yeah, keep going.
Absolutely.
Keep going.
Crazy amounts of vinegar. More than you'd ever imagine.
Bit much.
Yeah, that's why I think.
This Chip Chat series has been designed by Megan Clark-Bagnall as a living archive to document the unfoldings of topics and themes uncovered in our conversations with communities and creatives in Weston-super-Mare during our 4-year project, 21st Century Super Shrines. The 21st Century Super Shrines project is managed by Culture Weston in collaboration with North Somerset Council as part of the 4-year-long High Streets Heritage Action Zones cultural programme, led by Historic England, in partnership with Arts Council England and the National Lottery Heritage Fund.